the Stupor Bowl halftime, not Super Bowl, Stupor Bowl. What gives me the right to say Stupor Bowl halftime? Well, I've directed 5 of them thus far. It's a... You don't even know which ones. What are you clapping for? For all you know, I did the Janet Jackson one, which I didn't, by the way, but my phone was ringing during that halftime. Tim, I think some of you people were at my house at the time. Hello, did you do that? Did you do that? Yeah, that's why I'm sitting in my apartment in New York while the show is in... The Super Bowl is a crazy thing, but it's coming up, so you should watch, because the halftime shows have gotten very elaborate, very, very expensive. Very, very high production values and so on. I was lucky I got to work with Gloria Estefan and her husband, Emilio, down in Florida. Very, very playful people. So I'm down there. I'm in the studio. This is day after day and so on. And all of a sudden, amidst a whole bunch of people, Gloria Estefan comes running in. She says, Jeffrey, you got to hear this. It's wonderful. I just did it. It's got to open the show. She puts on this piece of music that is absolutely awful, horrific, terrible. And she's raving and raving about it. And I'm trying to elegantly somehow figure out a way to respond to this because she's so enthusiastic. So I said, well, the show is kind of planned right now, but, let me see if there's a way to get it. I'm not promising, and I'm like making excuses and so on. She's pushing me and pushing me and pushing me. And finally, the whole room cracks up because it was a complete put on. Okay, fine. To get even, I line up the choreographer, the set designer, the lighting designer for our regular meeting with Gloria Estefan, which at that point was probably every 3 days for an update and so on. I say, okay, we got great news. Oh, and sorry, and Emilio. Emilio was in on this too. We got great news. When you go into The Rhythm Is Gonna Get You, 8 dancing chihuahuas are going to come right out onto the stage. And they're going to jump exactly on the beat. She says, how do you get them to jump in? First of all, I don't know where this came from, of course, but how do you get them to jump exactly on the beat? I say, oh, it's simple. We just have a little electric shock collar that we put around each dog. Well, she looks at Emilio, and she looks back at me, and she says, but then you can't do that to the dogs. I say, listen, we needed 8. We started with 12. And the owner guarantees that there'll be 8 from the time of the show. She's starting to tear up. Emilio is keeping it together and so on. And then finally everything breaks up, and that was the end of that story. So when you watch the Super Bowl halftime, know that that kind of stuff is going on behind the scenes. Okay.